So one day, you finally decide to revisit that childhood game of yours, DragonFable, for nostalgia's sake, only to find out how much the game has changed, or maybe you've seen one of my many videos that has been blessed by the YouTube algorithm and decided to give this 20-year-old Flash game a try. How's it going, guys? I'm your host Korriban Gaming, and welcome to the DragonFable new/returning player guide for 2022. I'm going to try my best to cover most of the frequently asked questions by new and returning players in this video, but I will highly recommend you to check out my playlist of DragonFable guides as well as shorts. The links to those will be in the top right hand corner of the screen. Flash is dead. So how exactly do you even play the game? Well, there's actually a couple of methods. Firstly, will be to use Artix Entertainment's official launcher that you can find on their website. This being said, the launcher is usually laggy and not well optimized, but performance can vary across different devices. There are some other unofficial methods that you can find in my videos here, but use them at your own risk. If you're on mobile, Puffin browser can be used for Android devices. I don't own an Apple device, so I'm not really sure what options there are for that. After playing through the short tutorial, the game doesn't tell you much on where to go or what to do. While this is part of the beauty of an open world RPG like DragonFable, it can also be daunting to many who may be confused on where to go next. Luckily for you, a handy timeline has been added to the game in recent years, and you can access it from your book of lore in the lower part of your screen. I would highly recommend following the timeline up to the part where you get your own baby dragon before doing anything else. This is not only part of the game's main story, but a baby dragon pet will also greatly help you later on. For returning players, you may have forgotten where you last left off, and this is also where the timeline comes in handy, as it tells you which part of the story you're currently at. Though of course, if you've forgotten that much, then I would recommend going back and replaying everything from the start, as storytelling is something that the DF team has really done fantastically well. If you're still not sure on where to go, or just don't want to have to go through killing all those monsters again, then you can consider checking out my Let's Play series over here, cut to the playlist in the top right hand corner of the screen. While you're journeying along the way, there may be a couple of tough fights, so you might want to know what the best gear and class is. Let's start off with gear. If you're not at max level, which is currently level 90, then you really don't have to worry about getting the best gear, as you'll be replacing them very quickly. Any item you get from quests are usable as long as they are within 10 levels of you. There are certain endgame items that you can get very early on and you can use throughout your entire journey, and those are covered in the video that I have linked at the top right hand corner of the screen right now. If you're a returning player, you might remember the notoriously difficult to get Defender's Medals items. Well, good news. Most of them have had their costs significantly reduced. Wars are the best place to farm Defender's Medals, but the Tinder's Disarray quest from Book 3 is the best permanent option when a war isn't available. You'll need to do some of Book 3's main story to unlock this area. If you need help with finding a certain item in-game, the easiest way usually is by doing a simple Google search with the item's name and adding DragonFable or Battle on before or after the search term. Look out for search results that are from the official Artix forums. More often than not, the location along with clear instructions can be found there. Moving on to classes. There is no best class in the game, as each class has its own strengths and weaknesses. You should use the right class for the job in order to make your life a lot easier. I would recommend checking out my class tier list document that I've linked in the description below to find out which classes are most suitable for whatever you're currently doing. As a general recommendation, Technomancer is a good class for bossing, and for regular questing, I would recommend the Attilan classes. If you don't have a Dragon Amulet, your base class will work fine for questing as well. For DC class recommendations, you can't go wrong with Katu Adept, Chaos Weaver or Pyromancer, but the other options are decent too. You've got the gear and you've got the class. What about stats then? Well, each class uses different stats in order to maximize the class's effectiveness, so there really isn't a single stat build that is good for everything. As a general rule of thumb, every class wants some endurance for more survivability and a bit of wisdom to ensure you don't run into mana issues during longer quests. Invest in strength if your class doesn't have many auto crit skills or crit buffing skills. Invest in dexterity if your class has strong or loopable damage over time skills. Invest in intellect if your class has many auto crit skills or crit buffing skills. Charisma boosts your pet and gas damage and generally isn't used unless you're farming gold or EXP. Check out my gold and EXP farming guide video here. Luck boosts a bunch of things by a little bit and really isn't used at all nowadays, so don't invest in that. I would recommend putting a couple of points, roughly 10 to 20% of your stat point total into wisdom, then splitting the remaining points equally between endurance and one main stat of your choosing, which is either strength, dexterity or intellect. Apart from Ranger, whereby you get a damage boost from splitting points between strength and dexterity, you generally don't want to invest in more than one main stat. There are two things which you should absolutely do every single day and they don't take up much of your time. 5 minutes at most, the first of which is feeding your baby dragon. The more points you have in your dragon, the better it becomes, and a well-fed dragon is undoubtedly the best pet in the game. Don't let him starve and he will become your greatest ally later on. Next up is the daily quest. For returning players, gone are the days where you have to sit through a few ballyhoo ads to fish for dragon coins. The daily quest can be found in the Book of Lore on the bottom left hand corner. You will need to fight one random elemental, and once you defeat it, you will be rewarded with a guaranteed 3 dragon coins. 10 for the month of June, which is DragonFable's birthday month. By diligently doing the daily quest every day, you can earn approximately 1305 dragon coins in a year. Almost enough to get a DC class, and all you really have to do is to spend 5 minutes on the game every day. If you're looking for the best ways to spend your well-earned dragon coins, I have a video for that as well. What about gold then? What should you be spending your gold on? There's really only a few gold sinks in the game, the first of which being the very well-known Doom and Destiny weapons. They are still the best darkness and light weapons in the game once they are fully upgraded by the way, so definitely a worthy investment. Next up, we have the Dragonlord artifacts, which modifies your Dragonlord class's skills to either being more offensive or defensive. The Soulforge accessories are another gold sink, with the blue ring being best in slot for offense, but the other variants as well as the amulets aren't too shabby either. Lastly, potion training can now be skipped with gold, so you can do that as well if you don't want to go through the tediousness that is the potion minigame. Last but not least, you may find yourself intrigued by the Black Portal hanging above Falcon Reach or the first release of every month, aka the new challenges at the inn at the Edge of Time. If you're a new or returning player, I would not recommend checking out the area as it is really meant for endgame players. In there, you'll find hair-pullingly difficult monsters, and before you know it, you may have already exhausted all your gold reserves on attempting said challenges. A good knowledge of game mechanics is required, as well as certain endgame equipment which you may or may not be able to obtain yet. While it is not impossible to beat the challenges before you reach level 90, there is greatly increased difficulty in doing so as well as very few guides out there. However, if you've already been playing the game for a while and think you're up for the challenge, you can consider giving it a shot. I do have 2 playlists on how to beat the fights, one for DA players and the other where I only use non-DA equipment and class skills. You can check those out if you're struggling. And that's it for the guide guys. There's still many other aspects of the game which I can't possibly cover in one video, but I just wanted to cover some of the most frequently asked questions. You can probably find the answer to some of your other questions in my other videos, or you can also ask me in the comments below. I would also highly recommend everyone to check out my Discord server. The link is up on the screen and in the description below. There are not only plenty of helpful game resources, but also many other helpful and friendly players there as well who will be more than willing to help you out if you want to seek a second opinion. Or maybe you just want a nice place to hang out and talk about DragonFable or other AE games. I'm sure there's something for everyone. Do you agree or disagree with what I've said? Or maybe you feel there's something really important that I left out? Let me know down in the comments below. With that being said, I hope you guys have enjoyed the video and I found it helpful. If you have, be sure to give the video a thumbs up. It's free and will greatly help me out. Also, be sure to subscribe to the channel and have your notifications turned on if you want to see more of such future content. Till the next time, I'm your host Korban Gaming. Peace out.